How did you first meet with Frank?
At Booth Memorial Hospital.
That's right.
Behind the towering confidence and global fame of Donald Trump lies a quieter, lesser-known story, one shaped not by boardrooms or ballots, but by the steady presence of his mother, Anne MacLeod Trump. While the world saw a man unshaken by criticism, few saw the gentle hands that helped form him. The story of their bond is not loud, but it runs deep. For those of us who understand the quiet strength of a mother's love, this story may feel familiar. It's a story of resilience, faith, emotional distance, and deep affection, all interwoven into the complex figure that would one day lead a nation. As we peel back the layers of Trump's public persona, we find something surprisingly human beneath. How has your mother or someone like her shaped who you are today? Share your thoughts in the comments. You may find you're not alone in what you feel. Anne MacLeod Trump was not a woman who sought the spotlight. Born on the rugged Isle of Lewis in Scotland, she carried with her a quiet resilience formed by hardship and tradition. Her life, though far from glamorous in its early days, was steeped in values like discipline, faith, and humility she held tightly. Even after marrying into wealth and building a family in bustling New York. In the Trump household, where Fred Trump's commanding presence loomed large, Mary's influence was gentler but no less powerful. While Fred built skyscrapers and business empires, Mary built character, nurturing 5 children with grace and determination. Her guidance wasn't just in words, but in how she lived. She was a woman of deep religious conviction, ensuring her children grew up with strong spiritual roots, attending church, honoring tradition, and respecting service. For young Donald, her presence was comforting, even inspiring. He often described her as loving, elegant, and full of warmth, a stark contrast to his father's stern demeanor. She gave him praise, attention, and a sense that he was special. In those early moments of tenderness, she planted the emotional seeds that would shape Donald Trump's confidence, public poise, and lifelong quest to be seen and admired. In 1948, when Donald Trump was just 2 years old, the Trump family faced a crisis that would quietly alter the course of his emotional development. During the birth of her 5th child, Mary suffered life-threatening complications. Multiple surgeries and a long recovery left her physically weakened and emotionally distant at a time when young Donald needed her most. For a toddler, that absence wasn't just felt, it was defining. While the family had resources and domestic help, they couldn't replace a mother's touch. Psychological experts have long emphasized how critical these early years are for forming secure emotional bonds. With his father immersed in business and discipline, and his mother confined to recovery, Donald was left to navigate feelings of confusion, loneliness, and insecurity on his own. That formative gap, just when a child seeks nurturing and safety, created emotional patterns that would follow him into adulthood. Over time, Donald's outward confidence may have been built on a foundation of self-protection. Emotional vulnerability gave way to independence. The absence of affection became a blueprint for guardedness. This wasn't defiance, it was survival. In many ways, the bold, untouchable persona the world would later see began as a little boy's way of coping with a home that felt emotionally hollow during his most critical years. As Donald Trump grew older, another emotional storm struck, one that would leave an even deeper imprint. His older brother, Fred Jr., once seen as the natural heir to the Trump empire, chose a different path. He wanted to fly planes, not flip properties, but in a home where toughness was praised and deviation frowned upon. His choice was met with criticism and disappointment, especially from their father, Fred Sr. Donald watched as his brother's light dimmed under the weight of unmet expectations. Fred Jr.'s gentle spirit clashed with the hard-edged values of the Trump household. Eventually, he turned to alcohol, and by the age of 43, he was gone. The loss wasn't just tragic, it was instructive. Donald saw that vulnerability led to rejection, and softness came with a price. To survive in that environment, he had to become what Fred Jr. wasn't: unyielding, driven, and always in control. But behind that transformation was love, complex and painful. Donald never forgot his brother or the lesson his fall etched into family history. He vowed never to drink, never to appear weak, and always to win. These were more than personal choices. They were emotional safeguards born from the loss of a brother and the fear of becoming invisible like him. As Donald Trump rose to fame, his public image reflected more than ambition. It echoed the early admiration he received from Mary. Her elegant presence, theatrical flair, and unwavering belief in him became part of the persona he projected to the world. Even his signature hairstyle, some say, resembles her dramatic blonde waves. It was more than coincidence. It was emotional inheritance. In his first wife, Ivana Trump, many saw Mary's reflection. Stylish, poised. The resemblance wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Ivana, like Mary, carried a commanding grace that Donald gravitated toward. According to Freudian theory, this pattern where a man unconsciously seeks a partner resembling his mother is called the maternal imprint. For Donald, it seemed to hold true. Ivana was not only a life partner, but a mirror of the nurturing and admiration he craved from childhood. Yet the bond with Mary had its shadows. When Donald visited her Scottish hometown in 2008, he stayed only 97 seconds, a gesture that felt symbolic of the emotional distance he sometimes maintained. Still, her values of faith, pride, and presentation lived on in him. Her quiet influence wasn't always seen, but it was always there in his confidence, his brand, and the belief that he was destined for something extraordinary. Anne MacLeod Trump may have lived behind the scenes, but her presence shaped one of the most recognized figures in the world. In Donald Trump, we see traces of her strength, elegance, and emotional complexity. Her love, both present and absent, carved deep lines into the man her son would become, lines still visible today, though Donald rarely speaks of vulnerability. His quiet tribute to his mother using her Bible at his inauguration, recalling her warmth in interviews, reveals a bond that never truly faded. Beneath the bold exterior is a son who still carries her influence, in both the way he walks through power and the way he remembers where he came from. What lessons can we learn from Donald Trump's relationship with his mother? Perhaps that even the strongest figures are molded in silence, shaped by both presence and loss. If this story moved you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.